excited to talk about this today because I think sometimes we go through life, or we all know people that have gone through life in a job that they don't really like. So this is pretty shocking when you start to actually digest and think about all of the things that go into play when we pick our career and getting up and going to work every day. But what it kind of comes down to is that there are three kind of main types of people. Now, not everyone's going to fit into this category, so save it. If you disagree, that's totally cool. But there are three types of people when it comes to work. Number one, there are people that work to pay their bills. There are people that work to pay their bills. So we probably, hey, Kaylee, how's it going? We probably know these people that work to pay their bills because they are the people that will sit in a job for years and years and years and years and years and nothing will ever change, okay? It's really common in our parents' generation, our grandparents' generation, right? They stick with a job. Did you know nowadays the average career that somebody has is 6 different careers in their lifetime? How crazy is that? So, for example, my dad started working as a lineman when he was in high school and did 35 years as a lineman. You know, he's part of a union. He gets a great pension. He, you know, can retire comfortably, but he worked those 35 years and did quite well. You know, like we never went without, but we also didn't have the extras. So he worked to pay the bills. He worked to pay the bills. He worked to build a house. He worked to put a roof over our head and clothes on us. You know, my sister and I went to private school until grade 8 because that was all that was available in our community. You know, he worked to put food on the table. So they're the people that work to pay bills. Okay, number one. Number two, there are people who work for passion. Okay, I saw so many of these people when I went to school for music. Those of you that are in the arts, I love you. You're in my heart. You're in my soul. And I went to school for music because my parents made me feel, because of their background, made me feel like I had to go to university, get a job, you know, a well-paying job, get a degree, you know, with a pension and healthcare and all that kind of stuff, right? That is not really me. Hey, Tiffany, nice to see you. It's not really me. So I went to university. I went to school for music because that was the only thing I was passionate about. I've been singing competitively, or I was singing competitively since I was 7 years old. It was something that I really loved. And I was like, if they're going to make me go to post-secondary, at least I'm going to do something that I like, right? So I went to school for music. And this is the perfect example for people that work for passion. Because as a musician, you got to be ready to not make any money. It is very, you know, I'll never forget that first music business class that I was in, and it was packed. I've never seen so many people. Like, the average class size 20 people. 65 people in this music business class, and our teacher walks in and he laughs and he says, this is always a popular class. Everybody wants to learn about the music business, but he's like, there will be less than half of you at the end of the year, because it was a year-long class. There was literally 18 of us that made it to the end of the year that didn't drop out of his class because people were so disheartened by the information that he gave there. But he's like, I have to be honest with you. This is really hard for people. And if you are going to make it, you've got to be part of the 1%. What does that sound like, my friends? Most jobs where people are CEOs, they're the 1%. People talk about direct sales or network marketing and nobody's making any money, which isn't the truth, by the way. There are people making money, but people that are making big money, they are in the 1% because they do this full time and they see it as a career and as a business, right? So I want to go back to people that work for passion. Okay, so they work for passion. They do what they love. They give everything that they have, but they don't do it for money. These people often have multiple jobs. I know a lot of my friends that I went to music school with, they have jobs as a server in the hospitality industry because they're used to late nights and they kind of fill in the gaps because they can't pay the rent with their music gigs, right? Like, they just can't, because if you're not willing to do a gig for $100, somebody else will. And so what I realized when I was there is, as much as I loved music, I also loved money. Now, let me talk about that for a second, because money mindset is a touchy subject for people, and especially for women. Men talk about money all the time, but women don't talk about money because they don't want to be seen as greedy. So we're going to go into that in a minute. But I also want to tell you what the third person is, the third type of person. And that is somebody that works to level up. There's somebody that is like, the situation is pretty good. You know, I really like the place that I'm renting, but like, I want to buy a house. Or, you know, the car that I'm driving is 10 years old and it always breaks down. Like, I'm sick and tired of my car breaking down. I want something reliable. I'm willing to work for it. I want to buy a car. Or, oh my God, I just had a child. And all of a sudden you start thinking about their education and their needs. Maybe they want to play sports or go into the arts, and you've got to be able to pay for these things. And before you were fine with living paycheck to paycheck, but something in your life has shifted that all of a sudden you're ready to level up and you want to make more money, right? So maybe it's you've decided that you finally, you know, I know people that have never left the country. I've met people that have never left the country. Maybe all of a sudden you have a desire to leave the country and go on a trip. Maybe not right now, but like in the next couple of years, you might. So your life shifts and things shift, and you're not always that type of person, right? This ebbs and flows. You're not stuck in 1, 2, or 3 of work to pay bills, work for passion, or work to level up. All of those things kind of shift and change throughout your lifestyle. Hey, Jennifer, nice to see ya. Okay, so it really all comes down to what's important to you. Hey, Michaela. It all comes down to what is important to you. And maybe you're working because you're single and you got to pay your bills, right? You want to travel the world, whatever it is. Maybe you work to ease the financial burden of your partner because you don't want stress and anxiety in the household. And we've got Christmas coming up, right? How many of you, if you're watching this video, put a 1 in the comments below if you've experienced a stressful Christmas in your lifetime due to family and money. Because I'm telling you, those goes part and parcel. And I never understood as a kid why Christmas was always so stressful for us. But it's because my parents had different money mindsets and they spent money differently. Okay? So maybe it's important that you get on the same page as your partner, because there are some of you that are out there and you make enough money to live, you've got a balanced lifestyle, you get to spend money doing the things that you love and with the people that you love the most. Now, this video probably isn't for you because you've got this figured out. You've got this part of your life figured out. But how many of you have experienced a Christmas that has been so stressful that you didn't have this figured out? And so, the truth of the matter is, the reason that I like money and I want more money is I have divorced parents. And my parents had different money mindsets. And when they were divorced, I realized how much money was an issue in their relationship. And I never wanted money to be an issue in mine. I absolutely love my husband. We are best friends. We've been together for 12 years. I think maybe more. It all bleeds together. But I never wanted money to be a stress. And I also, from day one, was a partner with my husband. He taught me that we were a team. He was the first man in my life that ever taught me that, hey, let go of all of that. You don't have to be the strong one here. We're a team now. We do this together. And he proved that to me time and time and time again. And what I realized is that it was okay as a woman to be vulnerable and to let my guard down, and that it was okay to be taken care of sometimes, and that I didn't have to go at it alone. So I encourage you, if you do not have a partnership or a relationship like that, to either find it or start having the difficult conversations that you need to move forward. Because often in our relationships, we don't have the hard conversations. We don't want to create conflict, right? We want to make sure everybody's happy all the time. Conflict is scary because if that conflict is too big for the relationship, it could destroy the relationship. So we don't have the hard conversations. But if you understand that those hard conversations can actually bring you closer together, which is what I'm going to talk about next, then it will change the way that you work. And it'll change the way that you work with your partner, okay? So Ryan and I got together 12 years ago. I don't even remember how many years ago. It's been at least 10 years since we went to Australia together. And we were in Australia for 5.5 weeks. We spent 11 days driving down the Gold Coast in a camper van. And so in that 11 days, I brought a book with us. I brought a book by David Bach called Smart Couples Finish Rich. And in those 11 days, while we were driving hours and hours on end, I read this book to my husband. He was my partner at the time. I don't think we were engaged. We might have just been engaged. But I was like, we gotta get on the same page when it comes to money. Because I recognize that I love to spend money and Ryan likes to keep money. And I still want to spend money and he still wants to keep it. So we've got to figure out how that works. So I read this book to Ryan called Smart Couples Finish Rich. And what I love the most about it is that it allowed us to have the hard conversations in a dialogue that was supported by the book. Right? So maybe it's that book, maybe it's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, maybe I'm trying to think of the other like really big books that shifted the way that I thought about money. Automatic Millionaire by David Bach was really good. Smart Women Finish Rich. I read a lot of his books. I now believe a little bit differently, you know, like when I read The Wealthy Barber, it was all about savings, not spending your money on Starbucks. Fuck, I like Starbucks. So I'm like, maybe I want to spend money on Starbucks. But like, the important part that I've learned more so is the communication that needs to happen between you and your partner. I now believe that money should be working for me. I don't believe, you know, you have to save it all and like live frugally. I don't believe that, because you can just make more money. But I believe that there's two ways to make money. One is your job, the money that comes in that goes into your bank account. The second that most people don't understand and don't put time into is your money should be working for you. So there should be a section of that paycheck that you are holding before you pay your bills that you're putting somewhere, and that money is making money for you. So your money is working for you. That's the difference between people that have money and people that grow wealth. Okay. So this is really important. Now that book, Smart Couples Finish Rich, got Ryan and I on the same page. It made me realize that, you know, he was scared that I was going to spend a lot of money. And I was scared that he wasn't going to let me spend a lot of money. But in my parents' relationship, they never had those conversations. And so we came up with a couple ground rules, right? You want to spend more than $500? It's got to be a conversation between us. If you know, it's got to be something worthwhile. And the other thing that happened in our travels, because Ryan and I have traveled quite a bit, quite extensively all over the world. And in third world countries, you recognize that there are people that are just as happy as you are with a lot less. That we're in a consumer-driven society, especially in North America, and we buy. So we've learned to take only what we need and buy the things, number one, that are really going to make us happy. We don't buy things frugally, not frugally. We don't buy things on a whim necessarily. We don't pick that stuff up unless we're with our daughter, and then she's allowed one treat wherever we are, or else we'll have 10 in the basket. So one is our negotiation. But getting on the same page so that you spend money together and you have a money plan as a couple is really important. So then it shifts. Then why you go to work changes, because you start talking about goals that you have together as a couple, and you start talking about goals, or maybe this is something that you do on your own, and you start thinking about the things that you want to achieve in your life, and you start thinking about your end goal and what you want, right? So when you start having these conversations, you may start to shift your work to not just paying the bills anymore. You may start to shift your work because you are passionate about something. You want to help people. You want to make an impact. You want personal freedom. You want to be able to get up when you want. You want to be able to spend time with the people that you love. You don't want to be working all the time just to take a vacation. And often kids are the catalyst to making you understand the importance of life outside of work, right? Because we're all driven until we have children. And then we're like, wait a second, there's more to life than this. Hey, Raquel, nice to see you, girl. Thanks. I'm so happy that you're here live too. So what I recognized when I wanted to become a mom, and by the way, we put this on hold for 8 years. I knew that Ryan was the person that I wanted to have kids with, but I was scared that I was going to lose myself. I was scared that I was going to lose the person that I was, that I worked so hard to become, the person that I actually loved after so much self-loathing. I really was scared that I was going to lose that person and have to give up everything for my daughter. But what I recognized was that being a mom was just another hat, and that now I get to be a role model, and I get to teach her, hey, yes, you can work to pay your bills, and it's important to pay your bills, but you can also work when you're passionate about something. You can also turn your passions into money. And that's actually the best way to work, because then you never feel like you're working. I get up every day and I don't feel like this is a job. I'm so lucky for the team that I have. And I get in my inbox and I'm talking to my friends every day. Like, it's so cool. So you can actually turn that paycheck, that thing that you need to pay your bills and put a roof over your head and put clothes on your body, you can turn that into something that you're passionate about. And it may not be where you're sitting right now. You may need to pivot. You may be watching this video and being like, oh my God, I have a job that I just pay the bills with, but I want to be passionate. I want to be an advocate and talk about mental health. I want to be an advocate and talk about breast cancer awareness. I want to be an advocate and talk about child abuse. I want to be an advocate because you feel that passion in your soul because you've experienced something in your life that makes you want to be different and makes you want to change things. And that voice needs to be heard. So you can actually take that and make money with it. How cool is that, right? You guys have been probably watching, maybe not for as long as I have, but I watch a bunch of people and I watch like influencers and I watch how their story unfolds. And you guys have probably been watching me for the last 4 years shift and change my lifestyle and how we've gone from working those 9 to 5 jobs. In our case, mine was noon to 9, Ryan's was 7 till 2 a.m. We've changed those jobs into a life where we have a choice, right? Because when I decided that I was going to be a mom, I didn't make that decision lightly. I made it because I wanted to be a mom. I wanted to raise kids. I wanted to give them values and morals and kindness, and I wanted to give back. Like, Izzy is my greatest gift to the world. And no pressure is, but like, I wanted to be the person that was there to support her and build confidence and show her, right? I didn't just want to get back to work so I could pay the bills or pay for her daycare at that, right? I wanted to show her that you could build a life that will create happiness and that you alone are responsible for your happiness. So if you're sitting in a dead-end job that you're not happy with, then you need to move. You're not a tree, right? But if you're somebody that got into your job with passion and purpose and you're totally a boss at work and you love that, and that lifestyle isn't what you thought it was. Sorry, I have to take another drink because I'm going to cough. And it isn't what you thought it was, because I'm telling you, I thought, man, I want to work really, really hard. I want to make this money. I want, it's such a simple example, but like when I was a kid, I really wanted to ride horses and we couldn't afford that. My family couldn't afford that. So I never was allowed to ride horses. And so I want Izzy to be able to follow her passions and do the things that she loves. And I want to be able to give her a leg up. I want her to be able to do those things. So I recognized that in my job, I was actually taking time away from her. I was taking the time that I thought was so precious, the time that I cherished, the time that I could infuse confidence and life and love and wisdom into her. I was working. And I didn't want that. And I think so many people get involved in a job and think, okay, this is going to be great. I'm going to be a career person. I'm going to make all this money and provide this incredible lifestyle for my kids. But then they don't have time to go on a date with their husband or their wife. They don't have time to take a weekend off and spend time with their family. It wasn't the life that they thought that they were going to have. And what I'm here to tell you is that you get to design that life. You get to go out there and create it. What you are living right now is a product of your thought. The life that you are living right now is a product of your choices. You're here for a reason, okay? You've made decisions in your life, big or small, that have gotten you to this point, and every day you wake up and the experience that you have is because you decided to have it. And I took 10 years to realize that I was creating the life that I was in. And I had to recognize that some of the relationships I was in wasn't serving me. The work environments that I was in weren't serving me. They were actually pinging on the worst parts of my personality. And I had to realize that if I wanted to live up to my full potential, if I wanted to be a good role model for my daughter, if I wanted to be a good daughter to my parents, if I wanted to be a good wife, that I had to follow my passions and I had to do the things that I needed to do to make myself happy, because nobody is responsible for your happiness except for you. If you hinge that on a partner, on a child, on a dog, on a circumstance, then you're in a lot of trouble, and that'll shake your foundation. So you have to decide. You have to find the balance. You have to find something that works for you. And that's why I am so freaking in love with what I do on a daily basis, because I can't tell you how many conversations I've had where people have either lost their jobs, lost income, they have not been happy, they're not happy with their income, and they don't know what to do about it. But I'm here to tell you that you have options. You have options that will absolutely change your life. And if you want to have a conversation about it, then reach out and have a conversation. Let's have a conversation in our DMs. Let's talk about what you could be doing or changing or shifting. Let's talk about another stream of income or residual income or rental income or an idea that you could, or a passion that you could turn into a business. Like let's sit down and talk about that, because life is too short to live life unintended. Right? I've been watching a lot of stuff from Danelle Delgado, and her company is Life Intended. And I really appreciate that, because when you are intentional with your choices and your decisions in what you do for work, that will absolutely change the game in your happiness, in your work-life balance, in your relationships, and everything around you. So it's so important to recognize that you're in control and that you can actually change the game in your situation. So I hope this hit home for you. If you found this valuable and you know somebody that you want to share this with, please tag them in the comments. If you want to have a conversation, you want to make some more money in your life, you want another stream of income that you can do from your phone, you want to, look into the online world and see what it has to offer, please reach out. Let's have a conversation, because there are so many exciting things that are happening in our company right now. We're growing so quickly, especially in Canada. Like, I could not be more thrilled to be a founding leader here and somebody that is expanding our territory and expanding our business and expanding the company. We are on an upward swing. And, I look at the last year and kind of what's gone on, and in adversity, there are people that totally tank and lose their shirts, but there are also people that are willing to pivot and move forward. And those are the people in the next 10 decades that are in the next 10 years, the next decade, that are going to absolutely explode their personal wealth. They're going to explode their professional life. They're going to explode their personal relationships and the people that they surround themselves with. The people that are looking to pivot right now and make the best of a shitty situation, those are the people that are going to thrive in the next decade. So let that be you. Let that be you, okay? I hope you have an amazing day. I hope this helped. We'll see you soon.